So this was a Royal High School originally, and there are no windows because it was a boys' school and they didn't want the boys looking out the window at girls or whatever. And for a while before they built the new Parliament, this was used as a Parliament, which is actually what it looks like it could have been designed for. Certainly not a school. Okay, just to orientate, this is obviously the railroad station, a new portion that's been built, and there's Railway Bridge. Beyond that, to the left, is Market Street, where my hostel is, and to the right is can't remember what that street is, but anyway, up to the left, further on up the hill, is where Royal Way is. And the railroad station itself, proper, the building, is beyond. And this steep stairway going back down where I came from, or at least to the railroad, is called Jacob's Ladder. I just asked a lady about this who lives here. She said she didn't know and apologized, but said that to my left here I should find some stairs going up. This, I think, is a description of Pooh Lake, its origin. And if you can interpret the Scottish, maybe you can figure out what that says. This is the Nelsen Monument. The irony is, I'm not sure it's irony, but Robert Burns was the architect. Dashing fellow. What a curious edifice. It's an observatory, but this whole place looks like it's abandoned. There are curtains on that building, but it looks like it's dead. It commemorates those who died in the Napoleonic Wars of 1803 and 1815. Design is based on the Parthenon in Athens. Interesting office building with its top floor in the center has a garden and lawn area. Looking back at Carlton Hill and down to the Burns Monument and all the way down to Holyrood Palace. I'm now in the Scottish section of the museum, which there are like 3 or 4 sections. The old, I think the present and the future, or something like that. William Wallace apparently paved the way starting around 1290 when the kingdom was left without a ruler to defeat Edward I, who from England took it over and filled the gap, and Wallace was the prime leader of the resistance. These are ceremonial swords. Doubtful any man could wield these, particularly Scots who are smaller than men today. Indicates in the 12th century, David I and his descendants encouraged the European monks to settle in Scotland. Their wealth and influence made medieval church a powerful landowning force. Beautiful little pocket watch on the left side. This cloth vest was Scottish armor during the 16th century. See the bullet hole on the left side? So the Romans were not alone. James VI and others always found it difficult to control the border with England. And now that we're in Scotland, these reivers are heroes rather than criminals. This was an early version of the guillotine. the Maiden. If I recall from the tour, it sometimes took as many as 5 different attempts to chop off a head. Here, manacles with chains. Perhaps a chain went through here to hold you in with a group of others, or to hold you to a wall or whatever. Thumb screws. Witches hanging in the late 16th, 17th century. Between 3,000 and 4,000 people tortured and executed as witches. These were used, it's not clear how they were used. It's called an iron brank with a rowel-shaped gag, but designed to stop people from talking, particularly women accused of gossip. More thumb screws. The evil of these people. Such simple little device could extract such pain. A witch's iron collar. Face painted of the king's booklet on the 100 different ways of identifying witches. And here are some stocks. Weapons of the day. These are various kinds of sundials that apparently, this one in particular, showed the time in different countries or different cities, including Beijing, China. This were ornaments for wealthy people's homes and gardens once the dangerous times had gone, I guess. This is interesting because it appears to be a combination of 2 instruments, a spinet piano type thing and whatever this was over here. Like the king and queen's bed in the palace I saw earlier this morning. These beds seem quite small. Theirs even smaller. Maybe it was the large, over-the-top canopies of the king and queen that made them seem so small. This is the kind of defensive door that castle I saw on my walk across the Roman wall path would have had.